Okay, so I wasn't planning on making this video in particularly, but my godly, I think my hand has been forced in a sense that I have to talk about this. Arc 9 has changed ReZero forever, and I really mean it. It did change it forever for a multitude of reasons. A lot of it is because of spoilers, by the way. I want to make it clear before anything. This is after events of season 3. So whatever we've seen of season 3 core 1, like this spoils a lot of stuff future events. So that's your warning. But yes, it's all because of Aldebaran, of Al, of Priscilla's knight, or servant, clown, jester, whatever of the hell he's going to be named of. He is the catalyst for everything. Because here are 3 things I suspected at first before shit hit the fan. 1, Otto clearly does not like what Subaru's doing, or Emilia, and was, in my theory, someone who could oppose the two, even if Subaru uses return by death. Otto Suen was always going to have the same feeling of, no, I'm not going this route, and he would most likely leave the camp if things keep going a direction he doesn't like, since, he's gonna set his boundaries, similar to how he did in Greediff, and he left. But that was 1. 2, I suspected a lot of problems being thrown to the Emilia camp, more specifically because Subaru was in Wallachia. The Emilia camp went to Wallachia, and, well, with Priscilla's death, that might be a catalyst to have some weird hatred to Emilia, or at least her camp, like blaming them for Priscilla's death, which, by the way, I did not think Tappei's first big permadeath was going to be Priscilla herself, especially with how she's just a badass. She's in my top 3 out of the 5 in terms of, who my favorite candidates, but I'm not getting into that. But I suspected something around those lines. And then the last thing is Al. Like, I knew Al was going to for sure be super pissed, considering that it's hinted that he definitely knew about Subaru's return by death, and the fact that he didn't, I almost feel like, okay, so Al's most likely going to be an antagonist, which, I mean, he proves it, considering that, first, Subaru, why are you helping Al? Like, I get it, you feel guilty, but, dude, he's not in your camp. And second, it's like, you should be focused on being Emilia, like, being with Emilia, especially when you were separated, obviously not with your own volition, but my godly dude, like, you're there to serve Emilia. Like, I don't know. It was already off having him and Beatrice, like, and Petra, Melee, like, all of them going to the Pleiades Watchtower with Al, like, I get it, but my godly, events went to shit when he did. And yeah, so Al, he neutralized Subaru and Beatrice, because she probably would have detected something went wrong. And yeah, those 2 are out of the arc from the looks of it, which is the biggest thing that happened first. Aldebaran, essentially, it's revealed that Aldebaran knows Echidna, which is, big red flags. But the second thing being that he states he's gonna get Natsuki Subaru, like, he's going to remove him from the world, not kill him. Even he has put it, like, killing him is not going to do anything, which obviously says that he definitely knows return by death, but that fighting Subaru in his own playing field is essentially pointless and would just lead to defeat, which is an interesting thing because that's kind of how his little authority thing works. So he's probably going to throw Subaru into the waterfall. I think that's what he's going to do, or try to fully remove him and maybe return him to Earth. That'd be pretty interesting plot point. Subaru returns to Earth and is trying to find a way back into Lagunica, like that ReZero world. But, as I said, that was the big thing that caught my attention. Aldebaran neutralizes Subaru, and Subaru is essentially asleep for the arc, quote unquote. And then the second thing, his big thing that caught me off guard, he managed to have the dragon read his Book of the Dead, and the dragon becomes an Aldebaran dragon, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of funny when you really, say it, but he basically possesses the dragon, since it's really an empty husk. And yeah, Al and Al Dragon were able to beat Garfield and those that are from the Reinhard camp. Ezzo, the magician, like, it took him a few times, but he definitely was able to beat them, which makes this scene in season 3 kind of funny, because Garfield was going to get wrecked if he really did try to fight Al. And the biggest thing that caused everyone to implode last year, Aldebaran versus Reinhard. And no one thought of this matchup. Who would have? But the one character who can constantly loop like a video game, like constantly retry. So when you lose to the boss, it says you can restart there or go back to a checkpoint before that, which would be Subaru's ability. No, this guy just retries as many times as it takes to try to beat the motherfucker himself, Reinhard von Estrella, the most busted ReZero character of all time. And yeah, the two fought for approximately 4.5 months, give or take, but it was a shit ton of loops. Like, I'm not kidding. I mean, it states that in the web novel, of course, that it's been a long time since someone has pushed him to that number that he's hit, which it's going to Greediff numbers, if I do say so myself. And yeah, I was kind of, obviously we were skeptical, like the community. I would assume everyone would be skeptical, like, how is he going to beat him? Like, is he really going to beat Reinhard? Like, that was a big question. And even with this weird thing where Reinhard was apparently lightning speed, considering the shit he can pull off and all this weird... I'm not here about the scaling. That's not what my interest is, because as a writer, it's a bit of a nuisance writing characters that are so busted. So... not to mention, he's in the sand dunes, witches miasma, weakens Reinhard, yada yada yada. The thing that really caught my attention was when the Witch of Envy appears, well, after Al tries to bluff Reinhard, and we learned that the reason she even appeared was because the trigger had been, well, triggered. The taboo has been broken. Petra has read Subaru's Return, Book of the Dead. And it happens like the Witch's Tea Party, the second one, where Subaru, like, obviously is able to finally reveal he can return by death. The fact that it's that loop is abundantly clear, because it's a little hard if it were almost any other loop, because it wouldn't make any sense. And the fact that it's that one, she has become one of the most important characters in the arc, because now she's armed with a knowledge of that, which makes her a target now for the Witch of Envy, but also it might give her an idea why Subaru might be missing, and Al obviously is doing what he's doing. Al knocked Subaru out of the board, so she might think, well, I need to stop Al now. So we knew that Petra was going to have like a big importance in Arc 8, well, the original Arc 8, that's now Arc 9, and here we are. We have Petra being essentially the one that has to be able to beat Aldebaran. If not, at the very least, get Subaru involved back into the forefront, because I am damn sure Subaru can beat Aldebaran. It'd be a little hard, but Subaru can do it, which is why Al knocked him out. And obviously now, since Reinhard is fighting the Witch of Envy, he's kind of knocked the two most busted characters out of the board. Now, I have 3 predictions while I have the chance. I have 3 predictions I want to go over that I believe is most likely going to happen, in my opinion, of course. I'm curious on what y'all would predict what's going to happen. We are still in early Arc 9, but my godly, these are the 3 I'm going to go with.
I'm 12 years old. I'm old enough to be a working grown-up now. Wait, I meant a working adult.
Prediction 1. Petra's fate. It's more or less that there's 1 or 2 ways I can see this, which another theory also has 1 or 2 ways. One is Petra's gonna die, which is going to be sad, but that's the only way to get rid of the Witch of Envy, or she forgets the memories, which would nullify the problem with the Witch of Envy, because she doesn't like it that someone knows of Return by Death, regardless if it was through Subaru now or not. So if anyone learns of it, even if it wasn't because of Subaru, it just seems like it just triggers her, which kind of makes me curious why Al has not been harassed, because he definitely knows, but whatever. Not the point. The point is that we already know this is going to be problematic, because Subaru is not going to let someone like Petra, who's close to the mailing camp and to him to an extent, die. So we know that Petra's fate is going to be very ambiguous, but if I were to throw my hat in the ring, I am more tempted to say that she is probably, at the very least, she's going to forget about return by death. Whether it be via death itself or via memory loss, because we still have Louis Arnhem, or Spica, still, in the story, just not with them in Arc 9, because she's in Balaka for whatever fucking reason. But either way, I'm almost thinking that that's probably the only way to really have that fixed.
You are a true hero, and that is all you can be.
Prediction 2. Reinhard and Subaru's relationship. Friendship. I think with this one, it is really dependent on a lot of things, but there is a line in the light novel where Subaru tells Reinhard exactly what Puck had told Reinhard in the second trial, that he is a hero and that's all he can be. Essentially that line, and the way it was said and the way it was described, it definitely feels more on lines that their friendship is broken. And if that happens, then I really feel bad for Reinhard, because the dude just can't take a break. But this is related to the Petra one. Now, that is one way of events, for sure, as that could be the case. However, if we want to go on a positive note, is that they might be together the key to beat Al. Al has definitely been, for sure, saying that his stars, he is not going to give up and he will always win. That everyone else's, their stars were bad. And if Subaru and Reinhard, because I like to think Aldebaran has the Subaru of equivalence, and Regulus Cornelius has the equivalent to Reinhard von Estrella. Aldebaran is one who can loop back. Regulus has the most overpowered fucking abilities. And I think, similar to in Arc 5, it took Subaru and Reinhard together to really beat Regulus. I'm almost thinking that, in a more positive note, you need these two together to beat Aldebaran. I don't doubt Subaru alone can beat him, and we know that Reinhard will constantly have Aldebaran on a soft lock to the point that it's an endless death, essentially, for him. But together, I'm almost thinking that they can genuinely beat him. And that is mostly what I think is going to take, the two most busted characters working together. However, even if their relationship is kind of broken or not, it's just, I kind of think that Reinhard might do something to force Subaru to kind of just view him in a negative light. I just genuinely feel that's more of the direction it might go. But even then, I'm kind of hoping that maybe Subaru might forgive Reinhard. He's not as hateful. I mean, he doesn't forgive Roswell because he did it on fucking purpose in terms of fucking everyone over. Reinhard, I mean, duty and all that, but I'm almost thinking it's more lenient for Reinhard. But yet again, that'd be hypocritical. And I think that Subaru would, at the very least, be lenient with Reinhard, but still maybe keep him in the distance, which, as I said, would be very unfortunate for Reinhard.
I don't care which one of you does it, but teach the kid some manners and butcher him.
My last prediction, Heinkel, Australia. The jackass of Reinhard's father is going to play his last big role in this arc. It's a little hard to say this because we have to wait for the other arcs in order to be proven, but I think to make this shorter, not too convoluted of a wait, I'm going to say Heinkel is going to possibly, I don't think he's going to die. I'd be surprised if he dies in this arc, to a degree. And if he dies, then I think he's going to be able to successfully get his wife, reawakened at that point, because they have the dragon. But I think Heinkel is going to have to come... He's going to pay for essentially siding with Al. Whether that be dying, whether that be failing to get the dragon blood and forever his wife being asleep without him being able to at least do something about it. Or she does wake up, but upon realizing what he's done, she would shun him, and essentially he would be hated by the one person he genuinely wants back. And yeah, I genuinely think Heinkel was playing a bigger role at the very least, and that this is probably going to be the big last role he's going to play. The Priscilla camp is at its shambles because she's dead, and this is probably their last hoorah kind of thing, their last big moment before they're knocked out of the board. Or if anything, at the very least, I'm confident that happens, and at the very least, Felt will come into play later. I do think Felt will come into play, but that's like a mini small prediction because I almost guarantee anything Reinhard related tends to bring Felt around. But I definitely think that Heinkel is going to meet his end, whether that he's going to get punished. Like, I genuinely think he's going to get punished by the end of this. He's not going to walk home free from siding with Aldebaran in all of this. Overall, Arc 9 started off really, really interesting, and it went swinging and hit. Like, it definitely hits. So, I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. I'm curious to see what you guys think is going to happen. So, please like, subscribe, and comment down on what you think is going to happen in Arc 9 while we're still at the slightly, like, the first and second phase of the arc. Because I guarantee you, this is going to be a quite fun one. A long ride. I don't think it's going to get I don't think it's going to be short, but I don't think it's going to be super long. I think it's going to be a good medium between the two, but we're going to get one hell of an arc.